Thank you all for coming out on a Saturday night to support independent cinema.
Guys, huge congrats on this film. I love this so much. It is just eye-poppingly beautiful. It's profound. It's funny. It's thrilling. It's a cocktail of basically every ingredient that I think makes us love movies in the first place. It is just it's a banger of a film. So great work. Thanks, Mads.
I couldn't agree more. Brian is brilliant. He's a genius. Anyone who's been a fan of his work, which I have for a long time, it's such a great moment right now to see him getting to now step into directorial chair and on a big, beautiful feature like this too. It's amazing.
Brian, tell us a little bit about the origins of this one. That first, how sort of that first seed planted its way into your mind and then evolved into what we see on the screen today.
This started as an Amazing Stories episode, and I wasn't getting moved through the process, so we kind of reclaimed it. And I wrote it as a feature, and it took 5 years to get it made. And it sort of lived and died in various iterations, and then we finally got to make this film in Budapest a couple years ago.
So the intent was not hey, I'm finally going to make the movie. This was going to be part of a series.
It was going to be part of a series. I had an experience with a director that was sort of forced upon me, and I wanted to make sure that never happened again. And in order to do that, I had to learn how to direct.
David, what was your reaction first time you read the script for this? Could you see sort of Brian's vision? Could you envision what he was going for on the screen? What were the sort of themes in this piece that really resonated with you?
Long before even getting to look at the script, it was just Brian talking me through the idea, the points of the story, and what the story was that he was going to tell, and then who was this conspicuously inconspicuous man, and just the whole the hook of it, the basic plot. I was hooked already. I mean, it was just that it was going to be a Brian film. I was already in on board, but then hearing the way he talked and spoke about it. It grabbed me, and I knew it's interesting that it comes from an Amazing Stories, or the seed did, because it feels, like Brian took the best things that I love about a Steven Spielberg film, a Joe Dante film, and then put him in. This is just my stance on it, like this, beautiful French New Wave kind of world, this transformative and transporting kind of reality that. He does so well, just creating worlds that are so tonally vibrant and beautiful. It was, but I was in when he just said, "Bye, Bryan Fuller."
Let's talk a little bit about the tone of the piece, because I believe, Brian, that you said that the intent, part of the intent of this was to sort of create a family-friendly horror movie. I think you called it gateway horror, which I love. Yeah. Definitely could show my own kids this film. But then the prudes of the MPAA, I'll say, because you may not, came along and slapped an R rating on it. But you guys rode with it. Like you didn't. I'd love to hear sort of, given the fact that would then potentially limit the audience, at least in theaters. Were there conversations about toning down anything, sanitizing anything, so that you could peel back to a PG-13?
Well, it was an interesting process. We sent the film to the MPAA before visual effects were done, and they said, okay, we're anticipating a lot of blood with the bunny eating people, so if you can minimize the blood, you should be good for a PG-13. So we didn't think we were in any sort of trouble, and then when we resubmitted it, we got the R because it's a toothbrush. And the toothbrush always got a laugh, so everybody's like, well, let's roll with it. And there wasn't a lot of talk about resubmitting and trying to tone it down. And there was some conversation about what indie movies encounter with the MPAA and what studio films encounter with the MPAA. So Macon can do a lot of crazy shit and get a PG-13, whereas we can not have a non-lethal toothbrush injury.
I mean, it's wild when you consider that. It's just nuts.
I mean, there was a whole documentary made about that. This film is not yet rated, which you guys probably have seen. Like, it's still happening, and it's still happening.
Yeah, there have been lawsuits against MPAA for those types of things, but a lot of people were like, well, maybe it makes it cooler for a lot of younger people who want to see it. We made it for people Penny's age, and she's sort of the core audience.
And Arlo,
And Arlo.
forget Arlo. We've got an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old and we've got kids in the audience tonight. I see children.
Oh, yes.
I was just about to ask.
Did you like it?
Did you have fun? Great. I mean, I'm here to advocate for taking children to R-rated films. My goodness. Favorite movie in the world is Scream, so.
Yeah!
I mean, who didn't watch it? But this movie is excellent for all. It really is. I stand by that, and I would tell anybody to take their kids to go see this film. I think it's so great.
Penny, what did you think?
I thought it was great. It's in my top 8 movies.
Wait, let's clarify. Top 8 movies of 2025 or all time?
All time.
Yes. Okay. It's a refreshingly thrilling original movie. This is not based on Dustbunny video game. Though actually, no, I say that I'd love to play that. Or Dustbunny toy line. Bryan, you mentioned 5 years of development. Talk about sort of the challenges in this industry that is so IP dominated. How difficult it is to push through an original film like this.
It's very challenging. Fortunately, we had some people who believe at E1 who believed in the movie, and also, most importantly, believed in Mads Mikkelsen as the lead. There were many iterations of it that lived and died at other studios that wanted other actors or to take the focus away from Aurora's story and make it more about the intriguing neighbor. And for me, it always felt like it was Aurora's story, and that was the biggest arc. And so it just kept on kind of, like I said, living and dying at different places. And then we got purchased at E1, and then E1 folded right before we were going into production. And then Astute Films came and financed it using the E1 business structure. And then we finished filming it, and then Lionsgate bought E1, and we became sort of an acquisition. That was a movie that they wouldn't have made. And then the fine people at Roadside Attraction saw it and said, we want to put this in theaters. Because there was a time where we were not going to end up in theaters, but Roadside Attractions championed us and put us into festivals and got us a nice little release on these big screens for...
Big round of applause for Roadside Attraction.
David, you're not only an actor, you're also a producer, you have your own production company. Tell me, what has been your experience? I'm guessing most of the films you're shepherding are on the original side, probably in genre.
Yes.
What's been your experience trying to shepherd original films sort of against the tide of this industry?
It's tricky, but if you have a very strong vision and you believe in what you're trying to do, then there's always a way to build it and it will come. I started my company, Good Fiend Films, a few years ago. Bryan and I have many different ideas and things that, in fact, a couple really exciting ones at the moment that we're getting ready to take out to the world, but like Late Night with the Devil was the first co-production with Good Fiend. Late Night with the Devil! That was a film where, the grateful for a company like IFC and Shudder that came along and believed in it and was willing to stand by it. With independent, it's so hard because the marketing budgets are so small, so you have to have people that are willing to think outside the box. And then, it's with a film like Dustbunny or, with our personal projects that have the potential for commercial breakout or cult status or word of mouth status. Hello, thank you, please spread the word to all your friends and family. You come and you do these Q&As and you get to meet and greet and you get to do that stuff. It's like you just getting the word out about it. It's so important. And I think the story is extends beyond the screen. And I love that part of producing too. And I think Bryan's worlds that he creates are so fantastical and beautiful and incredible and elevated and accessible all at the same time, and he's so involved in all the details of the key art and the way that, as much as he can be, getting those images to people that are going to spark their intrigue and fascination. I love it.
Speaking of images, did I hear your cinematographer is here tonight?
Is Nicole here? Nicole, she was
Nicole,
going to come here.
She not. Sorry.
She was like, she'll be at the screening tomorrow.
Okay, come back tomorrow. Meet Nicole.
She crushed it, didn't she?
Yeah.
I wanted to give her a shot.
Man, was somebody filming this?
Was it 35 millimeter?
We were on, it's all digital. Yeah.
It looked good.
Like wonderful airy lenses. We were obsessed with Matt Reeves and what he did with the Batman.
Yeah.
So we went over and we asked to look at those lens packages, and then we started to do our own kind of detuning with them because those lenses were so powerful in that film and gave us an appetite and a world to build off of. But we discovered the 3:1 aspect ratio when we were just changing lenses. And we looked at the subject within a 3:1 aspect ratio, and all of a sudden Aurora got smaller and more frightening, and the world kind of sprawled around her, and we just looked at each other and said, is there any reason we can't shoot this 3:1? And nobody said no.
Well, thank you, sir. We got a few minutes left, so we'll segue to questions from the audience in case anybody else has. Right here in the center.
Okay, so I have a question for all four of you, really. Assuming Mads Mikkelsen isn't available, if you had to get rid of a monster, what character would you hire to do so?
That's a good question.
I love that. I mean, I'd go to the Batman. Maybe Morbius. Penny, who would you hire to take out a monster?
I would hire the Dustbunny to take out the monster.
The Dustbunny himself?
That's
Or themself?
That's a really good answer. I would take. I would hire John Carpenter's The Thing. Monster versus monster, following Penny's good answer.
I'll just go Thing then.
Yeah.
Thing, yes.
Big room.
Right here in the front.
Hi there. I saw you at Beyond Fest and saw the movie there. It was great. But my question is for David. So, with Late Night and the Devil, and now with this, you're so good as a character actor. Like, capturing all these characters, even like small roles where it's just like a character that has like 2 lines. You have so much talent with them. Like, literally in this movie, you were so funny.
Thank you.
With your little, like, the little Tic Tac thing.
That was all Bryan.
Yeah.
But, so, since you do a lot of these small time roles, when you get a big role where you're, like, actually going deeper into the character and everything like that, how does their process go about? Is it the same or different?
It's the exact same. I mean, the roles. So if I have 2 pages, if I have 20 pages, if I have 200 pages, doesn't matter if I'm playing 2 twin serial killers on Dexter Resurrection, or if I'm playing a talk show host on Late Night with the Devil, or if I have 2 lines in The Dark Knight. I love to look at the character's backstory, think about the world in which they live, the world in which they exist, how that world has affected them from the outside in. A lot of the physical work that I do works in that space. It's really fun playing in a space like Dustbunny because tonally the reality of this world is so heightened, but yet you wanted to find something authentic and grounded and real in it. So how you dress, how you move, how you exist, all of that. It's the same. I don't care if I'm doing, 12th Night, 12 Angry Men, or
Ocean's 12.
Ocean's 12. I need one more 12 in there. What's a good comic book theme?
Dirty Dozen.
Thank you.
Mr. 3.
Mr. 3. Yeah, I mean, One Piece, the same thing. It's Shakespeare. It's all, I love acting. I just love it.
Did you see the Street Fighter trailer?
Yeah!
I said.
Woo!
Yes.
I think we've got time for one more question. Arlo!
Yeah!
About the movie, when she said, I
wished for you, does that mean that he wasn't technically real? That he was just like a wish, like the Dustbunny?
It can mean that. If you want it to mean that, it could very well mean that. In my mind, that she wished for circumstances to bring him to her.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll do one more question.
That's a great question, Arnold.
Gosh, this is hard. You two in the second row.
You have to
You have
rock,
to-
paper, scissors,
You
for
have to,
it.
you have to, part A and part B. We did a two-part question.
Great way, like the final design for the bunny, like you have like a preview design, how doing that with this is always was in your mind, like being the shape of the bunny, the way that we see it. How was that process? You have a lot of changes, how was it?
Well, very few actually. So I worked with a wonderful comic book artist named John Wayshak, and years ago he did a Dustbunny comic book that was going to be released through Wildstorm, and then Wildstorm imploded while we were working on it. And so I went to him and I said, we're doing a monster movie, would you like to design a monster? And he was like, great, what's it look like? And I said, it's part Highland cow, part hippopotamus, part piranha, and a bunny. And he drew that. He gave it horns at one point, and I was like, it looks too much like Ludo from Labyrinth, which I also love. And we removed the horns, and then the fantastic people at Legacy built a gigantic puppet of that, and they were amazing in Budapest and are amazing partners, and there's a reason that we love those.
We have some legacy people in the house.
Do we have, like, who's all from Legacy? Raise your hand if you're from Legacy.
Right.
Right.
We're going to go to your final question.
Okay, I have a question regarding the cinematography. So I noticed that there was a lot of Chinese symbolism in it, and I was just curious to know what was your visual reference for it?
So many visual references. One of the wonderful things about working with Nicole Whitaker is that she sort of arrived with a plan, and so we could yes, 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 no, no, no it. It was sort of like Madeline Kahn in the History of the World Part 1, if you get that reference. But it was, she came with a lot of images. We talked about French maximalism in movies like City of Lost Children, and Delicatessen, and Amelie. And as we went to Budapest, there was so many distinctive architectural advantages of being there. The apartment building is the Hungarian treasury that was just renovated. We were the first people to shoot there, so we built a floor that matched that. But we shot in the building a lot. We shot in a winery for the subway. We shot in a event space where people have wedding dinners with a giant Shark Tank, and then we just built the restaurant on the outside. So there was a lot of love for yes and let's just keep going, and there were opportunities where, like, do we shoot in this restaurant that looks just like every other restaurant, or do we create our own? And Aurora's literally going to the underworld to meet these characters, and we have all of the very Catholic, I was an altar boy, symbols of like the coronas and the halos that were like, are these people like extra human in some way, or is that just part of the fairy tale? So all of it was just sort of a celebration of imagination.
Amazing.
Thank you.